Welcome to Hannah's Heart.
So Hannah, she's just one of the women who did struggle with infertility in the Bible.
No matter who we are, we can be inspired by the fact that Hannah took her pain to God, and God heard her and was with her.
So when she was praying at the temple, she had been weeping and not eating, and her lips were moving, but her eyes were closed, and the priest was like, "Hey, why are you drunk at the temple?"
It can become an obsession when you want a child so deeply.
And desiring that baby and to be a mama. Every holiday, every Mother's Day.
This is not a show that's going to promise you a certain outcome, but this is a show that says, however God answers your cry, we know that He's enough.
Hey, I'm Ann.
And I'm Kendra, and you're listening to Hannah's Heart on American Family Radio. Hey, if you're new, we are a podcast that started for couples struggling with infertility or miscarriage, and that was our journey.
Yep.
And we've gone on to talk about all different things.
So many things.
Adoption, fertility treatments, just when your life looks a little bit different than you had planned, how we trust and lean on a God who is more than able to sustain us through all of that. So if that's you, welcome to the Hannah's Heart family. We'd love to hear from you. You can email us at hannahsheart@afa.net.
That's right. We love to hear, honestly, we get a lot of prayer requests that way, but we've gotten a lot of show suggestions too, you know, like covering different things. And to be honest, about a year ago, we got a show suggestion for covering some disabilities because we never want to seem like that's a mistake or that child, you know, any odd feelings towards that. But that parent's life and now that child's life looks a lot different than what that parent probably imagined. And so we have now covered a few different disabilities here on the show and really just shone a light on how those children, even though life looked different when those babies were probably first born, that they bring a whole lot of light to those families' lives and to others around them. And so that is what we are going to talk about today. I'm so honored to have on an old friend, actually, and then a lady who I've heard a lot about throughout the years, Julie West and Savannah Tucker. Savannah almost said Webb. So Savannah Tucker. Thank y'all so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having us.
Well, we're glad to have y'all. We have them here because they're involved in a pretty new foundation around the Tupelo area. The Tupelo, Mississippi is where we're based locally, and so they have started something special here in town. But we want to kind of give before Shine got started and before you got involved, do you mind telling us just a little snippet of your life and your heart behind it?
Hard to keep it snippet, but we'll try. So I have a mother of 4 children. They've all we've homeschooled, private school, public school, done all the things.
You got to these days.
So one of my 4 has in the category of special needs.
Okay.
And so very high functioning, but we knew probably middle school that we were going to have to pivot in our expectation of after school is over. And so we started just really thinking, praying, you know, making some decisions on what that looks like. So in 2016, I'm a sewer, a teacher, have different skill sets. And so God really just kind of helped me to map out what can we do in the position that He's put us in. And so we started a company called Redesigns. And so that is a creative solution for people and products. And so what that means is we are creating a solution to a situation and making products. So we make handmade items. This was at this point. And so using that creative ability, because we all can create. God is creative.
That's
so
right.
He gives us all abilities, and that there's no structure for that. You know, it's open-ended. And I found that in all 4 children. So anyway, so we built this company, and so it also included T-shirt quilts and these types of things. But I feel like at that point, she graduated high school in 2018. We had to start making that plan for employment or just involvement, so that really she wasn't just in bed doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, because as everyone moves on, it changes from birth to elementary to friendships. That's a whole nother segment.
Yeah.
But anyway, do with what you've got. So we
It's
created
part of your identity.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah, sure. And so, anyway, we built this company, but basically hoping, knowing, and praying that at some point a nonprofit that had this like-mindedness. And we worked with lots of different people over the years in different nonprofits, but kind of practicing building these relationships with the community. But in 2000. I'm just going to kind of skip through 2023. Kelly Winter and I got connection, and they had started. I'll let you kind of come back and tell how that started. But with the Shine Foundation, they were looking for opportunities for adults, the adult population. That's what my heart was.
Yeah.
And so community, I had built a staff and of employment. So we made the handmade items. So this crew that has been coming along for 10 years, at 7 at that point, to bridge to where we could give more opportunities to the community, but I couldn't fund that, manage it, or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that enough? So
you were having them come,
Yes.
make items, and then you were selling those
yes,
items.
we were doing
allowing them to have the
shows. Then we moved into a business. Linda Hale was so kind and precious. God just put all the people at the right time, even if we didn't know if we were ready or not. Anyway, it take a long time to get through all of it, but we were looking for that connection. And honestly, I was kind of at my okay, Hail Mary. I'm kind of done, and he opened the doors.
Well, and you're saying that you employed
Yes.
multiple people with disabilities. Like maybe they wouldn't have been able.
4 employees
Yes.
that
Okay.
work
And so,
every
but
week.
we were able to keep that employment opportunity, but pivot a little bit to where now we do more workshops that give, through the Shine Foundation, because the community was there.
Yeah.
And
The need was
the
there,
need
right?
was there, and we had been working all these years on the processes.
Wow.
And so I think that's
So neat how God was preparing
Oh, you have no
two
idea.
different
Two
things,
different things
but coming
totally.
together as one
Yeah.
whole.
And I mean, there's a lot of details that are kind of obscure right there, but I mean, really, that's it, the community with the processes.
Wow.
And and I had enough of God had put it in our family and said, "This is your plight, and do well with it." And so, in spite of ourselves, it's a good journey.
Wow. Well, I remember when you started, we had started a little home business at the same time. And just being so encouraging through that process, and then seeing y'all had done things at Celebration Village and things like that. And you became known as have you gotten your t-shirt quilt made? Every senior in high school, got a t-shirt quilt made from you. And so I just think that's so neat how you allowed the Lord to use your abilities while people struggled with their own disability. But they were able to
and
still
the
do that.
T-shirt quilt was sort of like a sidebar that you really didn't see the connection until I saw the connection. It was recreating a solution, and it was not fair to say this community or this community. Everybody has their path in life, and to be fair, everyone, that was meeting that need as well.
Right,
So,
right. Okay, Savannah. So where did you chime in? When
I have
did
no
you
idea
come
how
in?
I got blessed enough to land here, but as much as I would love to take ownership or credit for the Shine Foundation, that's not my place. Kelly Winter, back in 2021, she's a pediatric physical therapist here in Tupelo at Beyond Therapy.
Okay.
She and her, I guess, team of therapists at Beyond had this idea to throw a fall festival for children specifically with special needs back during that time. And so obviously 2020 had happened, the world had shut down. 2021, everyone's like, hey, we can finally get back outside.
Right.
And they start broadcasting an advertisement this fall festival, and she starts having parents come like, hey, can my adult child with special needs come?
Oh, wow.
And she was like, holy cow. I was just so focused on kids because that's what I'm around at a pediatric clinic.
Yeah.
I didn't even see the need for adults in our area. So during that time period, her and her husband, Brian, had also started a Shine class at Hope Church here in Tupelo.
Okay.
And that class was specifically for individuals with special needs because a lot of times those families will stop going to church because it's a lot more. I mean, you have kids, I have kids, you have 4 that you are grown now, but still when you have small kids, it's a task to get to church.
It is, yeah.
And so that's a task on top of some people having feeding tubes that they have to, make sure they're responsible for, wheelchair accessibility. And so it was a safe place for people to go and know that their kid was going to have a space too. And so her and Brian are phenomenal people. She does not like speaking, so she's like, Savannah, you got this. And I'm like, I don't even have the honor to be speaking on this, Kelly. But it says a lot about her character and her humility. So that was in 2021. During that time period, I was still teaching. I taught special education for 8 years. I volunteered at the 2021 Fall Festival and have volunteered pretty religiously at all of her things because that's just the world I love. I love serving individuals with special needs. I also have 4 children of my own, and especially before those 4 kids, I had a lot of spare time. And while my husband might play softball with the church group or even just a video game, it gave me something to do during my time.
Yeah.
And so I got to know Kelly and her family, and fast forward to, I guess, 2023.
2023.
I found myself at this table with like godly, elite women.
I was begging, who's coming along?
Yeah. And so what's crazy, you're talking about like all these stories and how they combine. Probably in 2016 when Julie started Redesigns and was at her first Celebration Village, again, because that's where my heart is, I was like, oh, I've got to buy everybody in my family Christmas presents from this
I felt
food
the same way.
every year. And so I had this tradition. So I was meeting Julie and getting to know Julie. And what's funny is she didn't know like who I was, but she then later is like, wait a second, I know your family. And but it was just all
That's
these
so
little
special.
connections. And so in 2023, I was at Cantina del Sol here in Tupelo, and Julie West was here, Kelly Winter was here, Susan Dudley,
Yes.
who's also a vital part of this story.
Yes, our transition coordinator. And so she's very important.
Yes.
Yes.
We're all at this table just throwing out like ideas. And I remember kind of sitting there wondering like, why am I here? Like, I'm just a special education teacher and I've got to have 30 years of experience, you know, and then I get to retire and maybe get to become part of this awesome individuals, you know, sitting at this table. And I think that night when we left, I still was kind of not sure what my place was. But Julie and Kelly that night really decided, like, we're going to do something together. And in 2023, Shine and Redesigns kind of became a thing.
I invited her in, and she kept coming back. And then I didn't know what part I would really play in the Shine Foundation as a whole, loving those with special needs. But it just went together. Yeah, you know.
And so that was already kind of established. And then in 2024, I was teaching at a local high school, and I get a call from Kelly Winter. And what's crazy is before that, like, I'd been telling my husband, like, my heart is just set on more, and I want to be content with where I am. Like, I've got healthy parents, a loving husband, wonderful kids, but like something there's stirring in me that I should be doing more with the individuals with special needs. Many contacts throughout this time. It's weird. We were talking about it this morning that I had been making to try to do something on my own, like selfishly, like I've got all these skills that I need to be offering. Like, what can I do? Which is just, again, like the Lord has a way of teaching you humility and doors closed. And so by December of 2024, I was like, I'll just continue teaching. That's my place. I'm meant to be in these walls, loving these kids right where they're at. And I get a call from Kelly Winter, and she's like, hey, would you want to come work with the Shine Foundation and be a part of the team with me and Julie? And I'm like, would I? Well, let me ask Zach first. Like, you know, I got to have a 401k and insurance and all the things, you know. And so I committed to that pretty much in a week. I told Zach, I was like, there is like so much peace around that topic that, like, for sure, I want to be a part of it. And so I finished teaching that year. And in July, I came on the team, and since that time, I know for a fact we have had we have skill-based learning workshops 2 times a month for adults with special needs, and that's through Shine and Redesigns, and that is at the Redesigns building off Coley Road here in Tupelo, and that is open to. I mean, if you have a special needs adult child, still they're your child at home, and they're not taking part of anything because they have aged out of school. What a lot of people don't know is that services stop in the public school after 21, and so you get those 3 additional years within the public school system. But after that, I mean, their employment opportunities are very limited. Jobs are, I mean, unheard of usually, and so you have like job skills training like MDRS here in Tupelo and Ability Works, but most of the time they land back at home or in a day hab program. And so we want them to come to our workshops, and it's an hour and a half. Parents can, if you're a mom, you can go get your nails done. Go sit by yourself in your car and read a book. I mean, like,
Which is so good for the parents.
Yes,
as well. Yeah.
It gives them an opportunity to just be.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what Shine and Redesigns has been focused on. The Shine Foundation in itself still we have here in Tupelo a Challenger League, so soccer, baseball, and basketball for individuals with special needs.
That's so
through
cool.
Tupelo Park and Rec. We have C3, which is Community Coffee and Christ for our Shine moms, or if you are a caretaker of an individual with special needs, so you might be an aunt, a grandmother, a sister. We do that the third Tuesday of every month. And so they come and we have usually like a short devotional, coffee, and just give them support and connection.
That's so important.
Where my role really came in is Kelly was like, we want to have resources for parents about schools and IEPs. And so with my very limited
down IEP for people that don't know.
Okay, yes. With a public school, you have an individualized education plan. Okay. And so when you start at 3, you get a document, and it basically tells you what the disability is, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. And from that, we're going to have goals for them. And I'm going to meet you as a parent really whenever you want to meet. A lot of parents don't even know that. So parents, you can meet when you want to meet. Typically a school will say one time a year and you'll go over it. But to really monitor goals, I as a parent would probably want to touch in a little more than once. Yes. And so also, when you work with the school system, so in the position that I was in, there were resources available, but I was my hands were tied on what you can say. And so we started what's called the Bridge program through the Shine Foundation. And so through that, I'm meeting with local schools and having a collaboration to bridge the gap for resources for parents and just a healthier relationship, really, and resources outside of school, just making connections with local therapies. And like this morning we had a meeting, and I'm meeting new people too for like what's called an IDD waiver, and it's for when your child does age out of school, having a caretaker that can come to your house so that you can continue working. So there's just a lot that we are trying to offer as far as involvement, activities, workshops, and as the movie says in Mean Girls, the limit does not exist. Like we keep coming up with new ideas, and we keep finding the people to implement them. And so
see what the need is.
That's amazing.
You guys were Kendra, especially, not to knock at you in, but she was so helpful. We started a YouTube channel, and she was like, "Here's some tips to make it a little bit better." So if you want to learn anything about like the Shine Foundation, we do have those videos on YouTube, and we are telling the stories now of a lot of our families within Shine, so that maybe if there's another family going through it, they can relate to it. So,
what are the ages that someone would reach out to y'all?
Any age,
every age.
Okay.
We
loving those with special needs.
Love it.
Okay.
And really, that's a lot of support for the families too. I think that is a lost component, and so that's what's really
and Project Love. So we have
Project
Project Love that's with the North Mississippi NICU now. So when parents have a child in the
That just
NICU
gave
now,
me chills.
we have little loveys that the moms can love on and put in the incubators with their babies that have the sense of the moms.
That's really sweet.
Yes.
And
so
what we love about that is that we're making that so we are a community that usually people look at, we're going to
pour into.
we're going to pour back into another vulnerable community,
That's
and
really
they
sweet.
have loved that.
That's really, really sweet.
we also, the special part of that too, I myself have had a miscarriage before, and they have now butterflies that they're putting on the doors of the moms that don't get to take their babies home. And so they at least get to take something home, and those mamas aren't going home empty-handed. And so we have our pamphlets up there, so if they are born and they have any type of brain bleed, they're initially getting our resource automatically, so we can be an aid to them.
That's really sweet, you guys. I did not know that part of it. That's really, really
Well, and you said they get a lot of joy from being able to provide that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if you are breathing, God has a purpose and plan for you, and you all see that. That's what I just love is that you see these individuals may have special needs, but they have so much to give to.
You cannot imagine the skills and the we are. Yes,
We want to put their abilities on the forefront.
whatever
rather
that
than their
is.
So many
disabilities.
children that I have been around, even adults, when we had Touched by an Angel Ministries here, I volunteered out there every summer, multiple times. But they had the biggest hearts of all.
Oh, the
I
blessing.
mean, like, they
And
just
You're not
love
gonna-
you.
if
the
you-
volunteers that come in, I mean, always. I got more out of that than I gave.
Same.
For sure.
We think that there's a man that said this at our donor dinner, that we think that they need us, but really we need them. It's a different
the
type
other
of
way
joy,
around.
and you're going to leave
I
with so
have a
much
question. We have a lot of people on here that are involved in foster care. If this is a foster care mama, but that they have a special needs kiddo? Is that
Absolutely. We have foster care parents that bring their kids that are involved with our Challenger League sport. So there's kids involvement, and then you have the adult workshops. The adult workshops are through Shine Redesigns, but if they want to get on our Facebook and become a Shine family, they absolutely can. We do not put limitations on foster
And that's
families.
key. Become a Shine family. I mean, or tell somebody about it to become a Shine family.
And that's
then
on our
you can get-
Facebook. It's
Now,
pinned at the very top.
do y'all take donations? Like if someone's like, okay, I don't have the time right now to volunteer, but I am blessed
Absolutely,
financially.
501(c).
Okay.
So it's all
501(c).
deductible.
We have a tax credit.
The Mississippi tax credit.
Yeah, so you can make a donation up to $2,600 as a joint household, and you get a tax credit for that. It doesn't have to be that. That's just the maximum amount. But we also just have like Venmo, PayPal. People can donate. You can go to our website, just the ShineFoundationTupelo.com, and there's a donate tab. We love for people to have some type of reoccurring donation, obviously, because it's sustainable.
Right.
But rather than donating too, we love people to come in our facility on Cully Road and see the opportunities that these people are getting.
And buy things we make.
Yes.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
I walked in, I don't know, a few weeks ago when I was putting out posters for the conference, and y'all were about to do a workshop then, and it just seemed like such a neat group of ladies and people there.
It is.
That you're like, oh, I kind of wanted to stay. If I wouldn't have had children in the car, I might have been like, I don't know what y'all are
People
doing
come and
today.
volunteer,
But
and then they
But I
go,
want to be a part of it.
back.
yeah.
That's me every day.
Well, and
when
it
I
was
show
so
up.
many people I knew in there. I was like, what are y'all doing in here?
And had FOMO immediately.
I
She's like,
sure
I'm not
did.
fear of missing out.
Well, tell
For
me more
sure.
about the workshops. Like, where do you get people to lead them, and can people volunteer to do that?
They can. Typically, we have gone through a year or so of we would originate. We take donated items.
Okay.
And so originally, I would take fabrics, and that's how we
okay.
would make all of these. We just make whatever with what we have.
Okay.
Creatives,
Yeah.
all back to the theme. And so now we have reached out to more community based. So we might
Local
have a local
artists.
artist that might do the primary activity because they'll make and take, and then in the back we'll work on a little bit of work that we make and sell. So
Okay.
everybody's contributing because a lot of the kind of regulars that have been coming for every month, they come in and have the ownership. And again, like the NICU hearts, they they've been on a machine before, or they know how to stuff or cut or trim or wait patiently for their turn.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's a lot to working with this community that if you're not in it, there's a patience and an understandable ability.
Like learning
I was just going to add, though, to your
Learning curve
question.
thing.
We love local artists to want to get involved. So we've had 7 Acres Farm in Moorville. She came and taught us how to do bouquets, and they got to take them
So
home to
proud.
their moms.
Cool.
And we've had the cooking lady, Laura McWayne,
McWayne.
cooking with cultures or learning through cooking.
Cooking is the first language.
Yeah, I'll get it right in a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I know.
Lauren, if
Yeah.
you're watching. But we have different people like that who are wanting to pour back, and so that's kind of
Very
their way. Rather than a check, they're like, hey, we have a skill to offer, and it's a new skill that our individuals are learning. And so what Julie is saying is they might do that for 30 minutes, and then everybody's hands are kind of touching these products that are also going to the NICU and different organizations. Yes.
Very, very neat. Okay, I need to know more about your show. We're getting started with the podcast.
Yeah.
YouTube,
very
something.
prematurely.
Okay.
Constructive criticism is always welcome. I take
You're
it very
doing
well.
great.
Oh, my
But
goodness.
we do have a YouTube channel, and we're working on having that audio strip to have a podcast channel for people who are more just audible listeners. But we are trying to, we did all kind of the backstory. So Julie's story is on there with redesigns.
Okay.
Kelly's story is on there with founding the Shine Foundation. And then we're highlighting the families who have been kind of Shine families for a while and telling their story. So if they have a child born with cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, some of the more diagnoses that you hear, but we recently had a very rare diagnosis, and so she was 1 in 40 when she got diagnosed. I'm not going to tell you too many details because I want you to go watch it. It's going to come out the second week of March, and so
Now, where can we find that?
so that is on our Facebook and on YouTube. So the YouTube is the Shine Foundation X the Bridge, so it's the combo, and then on Facebook we're just the Shine Foundation, and we post all of our videos to Facebook.
Okay.
Wow.
That is so neat, you guys. I know y'all have more that we could share. We have the 2-minute warning right now, but what would you say to someone who is a mama and nervous to send maybe even her adult child to get involved in this because she's never had this kind of help before.
This question has been asked several times.
Okay.
Yeah, we try to have a safe environment, and just to trust that there are opportunities there, and just to kind of loosen up and let go a little bit, and trust that there's a community out there waiting for them.
Now, hey, granted, I will say this though, I don't take it too easy on them. So they also, I would say, have tough skin, because if they come in, I'm like, whoa, now you better.
We have expectations.
Yeah, you better try that again.
We should expect.
I want them to be treated like.
I feel like
children.
It needs to be known. Like, your stuff is beautiful. It's not just like pieces of fabric that you didn't know what to do with. Like, you have beautiful rugs and beautiful, like, just handmade items, but not just like run of the mill handmade stuff.
Yeah,
It's very, very pretty stuff. Well, you guys, there's our minute marker. Somehow
So
that
fast.
passed by so fast. But thank y'all so much for coming on. We appreciate y'all being here. And I hope that we can encourage you guys to get involved, even if you're not local to the Tupelo area, to figure out a way to get involved in this special community in your neck of the woods, wherever that is. And if you are local to Tupelo, Fulton, any of our Pontotoc, okay, lots of our little counties around here, to call out or to search them on Facebook. That's the Shine Foundation, to see how you can get involved.